Tell me when.
Good.
Okay, let's bring Improvement and Service Committee to order. Let it be recorded. Nicholson, Nenning, Vanderleest are present. Worry is excused. Number one, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting in June 14, 2017. Motion by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion, here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Two, approval of the agenda. Motion by Vanderleest, second by Nenning. Under discussion, here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Three, consideration of possible action and request by David Johnson to rescind the snow and ice removal charge of $60.55 at 724 Park Street. Director Grenier?
At the June 20th, 2017 Common Council meeting, this item was pulled, and we were informed that the resident identified he was not informed of the meeting, and he would be coming to INS at this meeting. So the item was referred back for discussion here. At the last meeting, the committee had voted to deny the request, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't see the requester here. So, again, just
Move to table it?
very briefly, we showed you some photographs. The requester stated that they had taken care of this, but it was pretty obvious. There was bare sidewalk on either side of the parcel with no sidewalk treatment in between. Then the after photo shows that our staff did indeed go down with a sidewalk unit and clear the walk. So this was a charge for service provided.
He said he was going to be here tonight.
He requested that we have the item referred back so that he could appear. We did send a letter out to this address on July 7th informing him to, that it would be on the agenda.
Okay, well, how many more chances do you want to give him? I really don't.
Could we table it until the end of the agenda? If he
Sure.
shows up, we'll deal with it?
Sounds good. We'll table it until the end of the meeting.
Excellent.
Okay. Is there, with a table, we need a second, no discussion, correct?
I believe that to be the case.
Move to table it
Okay.
until the party.
But there's a time frame set. You're setting a time frame to it so we can
Yeah,
we can debate it.
I'll move to table it until the end of this meeting.
Okay, is there a second to Nenning's motion? Okay, under discussion? Here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Four, consideration of possible action on a request by W.W. Granger Incorporated to enter in a parking agreement, Pine Street ramp. Director Grenier?
Okay, Granger is looking to pick up a lease for, at this point, 570, it could be as many as 600 vehicles parking in the Pine Street ramp. Normally, I would have a copy of that draft lease agreement in your packet, but I'm still working on the actual terms, subject to review with our law department and Granger's law department. This is a fairly standard type of an agreement. It's the same language we've used with multiple parties, so there are two ways we could handle this. If you wish, we could hold this item until next month, or if you wish to direct staff to use the same language that we use with other people, get approval by law department and authorize us to execute the agreement, we can do that too. Either way is fine with us. If you want to wait and actually see the agreement, hold it until next month. If you want us just to go ahead and take care of business, direct us to do that.
Do we have the space available?
We absolutely do.
Okay. I'll make a motion to authorize the Public Works and Law Department staffs to enter into an agreement similar to those that we've had for other clients.
And if we get this hammered out before Tuesday, I'll make sure that everyone has a copy of the agreement prior to council, so
Okay.
you can look at it as well.
And if you don't have it before, you're going to show it to us anyway, right?
Absolutely, I'll
Okay.
report out.
Thanks, Steve. All right. Motion by Nenning, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Consideration of possible action on request by University Avenue Center to dedicate municipal infrastructure improvements associated with University Avenue, Clement Street, Van Buren Street, and University Way to the public. Director Grenier?
Okay, as part of the University Avenue Center development, that's the festival and Quick Trip and Outlots up on University Avenue at University Way. We entered into a developers agreement a year ago to have them build the municipal infrastructure. They've completed most of that work, and they're now requesting to dedicate that over to the public. Fred Street, Clement Street, Van Duren, and the part of University Avenue that remains closed to traffic, but as part of a city street, that's actually, it's still University Avenue. It goes down as far as Riviera Lane, so there's a small part there. Then University Avenue eastbound, westbound, that's Sturgeon Bay Road, and the Dan's Avenue intersection. What they're requesting is everything except for the pavement where the barrels are still up. So we do have the documents that were required under the developer's agreement. They have submitted everything that we need, and we are recommending that we accept that dedication. If the council or if the committee recommends the same tonight, we will have a resolution accepting the dedication of improvements prepared and put into the packet for Tuesday night's council meeting.
Is there a dollar amount to this?
The net value of construction that they have completed as of this time that they are asking for dedication is in excess of about $3.3 million worth of work.
And that's, but I mean, what's coming out of the city?
Nothing.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
The developer built the infrastructure, and they are dedicating it over to the city.
Okay,
They're
all
giving
right.
it to us.
Okay. Any questions from the,
The Plan Commission approved this Monday night, so I would make a motion to approve it.
motion to approve by Nenning,
Second that.
second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor? Nays, motion
Aye.
carried. 6, consideration of possible action, request by Alderman Moore to install a street light on St. George Street, mid-block between Eastman Ave and Reber Street. Director Grenier.
Okay, we have a graphic in your packet that shows a aerial view of St. George Street between Eastman and Reber. So St. George would be where you see the red arrow, Eastman being on the bottom of the page and Reber on the top. As you can see, there's a street light up at Reber and another one down at Eastman. It's about 380 feet between those lights. Typically, we like residential spacing to be at 300 feet. So we are slightly longer than 300 feet. If we were to put one at the alley, it would be 220 feet from the northerly light and 160 feet from the light down at Eastman.
Okay, Alderman Moore?
Yes, thanks. I talked to Director Grenier about this, and I know years ago, policy in place for this district because of the size of the blocks and because there's multiple blocks was that 380 feet was going to be sufficient. And I mean, I agree in most cases that it is. This specific area is the only one in 5 years that I've really had complaints about, other than things like burned out bulbs and things like that. But so in the last year, since last fall, I guess, was when we began some communication back and forth about the possibility of putting a light in here. After reviewing it, it does qualify by our policies that we have. And the reason I would like to see it here, outside of just receiving a few comments about wanting one, Eastman Park has some issues with some crime and some police calls. We see that a lot right at the end of the school year and carries pretty much through the summer for the most part. And then this is also just half a block off the park, and it's kind of an entryway back into the neighborhoods from the park. So as far as traffic, the railroad tracks runs through there. There's a walkway across the railroad tracks, and then it's pretty dark once you get across the tracks. If it's an insignificant cost, I'd like to see it go there. If this is something that's going to break the bank, I understand if we don't. But if that's the case, I would like us to get out there and trim back trees away from the existing lights and do what we can to just enhance the lighting in that specific area. Like I said, it's the only one I've had in 5 years for a request for a light, so I don't see this being a precedence that all of a sudden they're going to be popped up and requested all over the neighborhood. If that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, any questions from the committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Thanks.
What is the cost?
To install a 9,000 lumen, which is a typical residential streetlight, it's a one-time charge of $77.51 and an annual cost of $173.64.
Okay, and we have money in the budget or bonding or something?
This is all part of our budget funds.
Part of the budget, okay. Okay, I'll make a
Motion to
motion to
approve.
approve.
Motion to approve by Vanderleest, second by Nenning, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor? Nays,
Aye.
motion carried. 7, consideration of possible action on request by Alderman Nicholson to review the parking ordinance with possible action. Question, I brought forward, I don't know, a couple months ago about parking on the apron,
Okay?
and it went to planning. I thought this was gonna go to planning, but just want to ask the committee's opinion. What I understand, Steve, what Mary Scanlon was telling me is that when a vehicle is parked perpendicular on a driveway, as long as the wheels are on the driveway, it's legal.
Yes.
Even though the hood or the
Correct.
back is
Is hanging over the grass.
hanging over.
Yep.
Now, to change the ordinance, I know it would have to go to law department, but what is the opinion from the committee and the director? Do you feel that that's kosher, or is that,
From parking's perspective,
because I'm receiving a lot of complaints, even
Right.
though the hood or the engine part is
Well-
still hanging over.
from parking's perspective, if you're parked parallel with the driveway, perpendicular to the road, we don't want anything projecting out beyond the face of the curb, nor do we want to block the sidewalk. If instead, so that's the reason that we limit parking in the
That's
direction.
opposite what I'm
Nope,
asking.
I understand.
Right,
I'll
okay.
give both directions and
All right.
and the reasons why.
Go ahead.
When we park parallel to the street or perpendicular to the driveway, the reason we limit that is because we don't want to cause erosion or ruts in the terrace or that kind of stuff. So as long as the car is parked where the wheels remain on a concrete surface, if the part that's up in the air, the front end or the rear of the car, that's not in contact with the ground is hanging over the grass, it's
Right.
not damaging the grass, nor is it causing erosion or rutting. That's why parking has historically been okay with that type of an arrangement.
Okay.
So that's our portion of it anyway.
But with the change, what would be your opinion on that? If there would be a change? Where it would be illegal, if there was a change? What is your opinion on that, Steve?
Well, again, the whole reason that we look at it was for erosion, so
Okay.
it has really,
No bearings on your department then? Okay. I'd like to hear from the committee also.
If I could, just as
Oh,
a
Chris.
parking manager, if it would be changed through the proper channels and by whatever decisions, parking division would enforce it the way it is now, or the way it would be changed. It's really a reference point. Right now, the reference point on the driveway is the wheels, contact patch.
Right.
If it would be changed, the reference point would be the farthest north end of the vehicle, the farthest south end of the vehicle, so to speak, projected down to the ground. Either way, it can be enforced because there's a reference point for
Right.
an enforcement officer.
Has
So,
that always been the policy, or did it change at some point?
It's, to date, it has always been wheels on pavement as the reference.
the way we're currently enforcing is the way that we have enforced historically.
Right.
For me,
That's
I-
understandable, but
Yeah,
Dave,
For
just
me, I
what your
have not
opinion?
had any complaints about it, and, I think that the public interest is that they park on the grass, that they park on the pavement, and if a bumper is hanging over above the grass, it really doesn't bother me. I know other people may feel differently, but I haven't had any issues with it as it is.
Go ahead. The only reason I'm bringing it forward, because last 12 years probably, I've been receiving a lot of phone calls. Basically, it's just uniformity, but,
My thoughts are that a lot of driveways, are like maybe about 16 foot, and if you got a bigger car, you might have a little hangover. If you got a small car, you got probably 2 foot left on each side. If you got a compact car, in other words, if an apron's 16 foot wide, some of them are 14 foot wide. So as long as they're parked on the pavement, I feel it's okay. There are a few people in my district that do park that way because they got a few extra vehicles, but I think the way personally, I feel that as long as the tires are on the concrete, I think it's good. And if you got a bigger vehicle, you know, you're gonna hang over a foot or so past if your driveway's only, well, let's say it's a 14-footer or whatever it might be. A lot of double driveways, they go from 16 foot to 18 if you got a big, big open. What is the actual footage that they give on an apron, let's say on a residential home?
I believe residential is limited to 20 feet at the property line.
That's the maximum, right?
Right, for a
What do we do, I know that, there are such, this is kind of extending what you've had here, Andy, but if, we don't allow people to park to block the sidewalk,
correct.
do we, if they're, they have a big car and the front end of the car hangs over the sidewalk, is that a violation?
Yes,
That would be a
They would,
considered
yeah.
violation.
Well, yeah, because it's a right-of-way, correct?
because you're blocking the pedestrian, the ADA accessible
And
pedestrian.
that's what I would expect, but in terms of it hanging over the grass, it's not on the grass, I guess I don't have a problem.
Joe, do you have an opinion? I
This
don't-
doesn't really affect me. I mean, I haven't had this issue at all in the whole district, so.
I guess, well, like I said, it affects me because I'm receiving a lot of calls on Abrams
Yeah.
and Edgewood, and those are the two I can think of right now, so that's why I'm bringing it forward. But I just don't think it looks good for the city. I mean, it just doesn't look good. I mean, do you really, I guess it doesn't bother you as how it's parked then? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to receive it and place it on file?
Okay, motion by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, I'll be a nay. Motion carried. Okay, moving forward. A, consideration of possible action on a request by Department of Public Works for the approval of an agreement with Suburban Wildlife Solutions to provide professional trapping services of nuisance animals at city-owned stormwater facilities for 2017, 2018, 2019 trapping seasons. Director Grenier.
This is our annual contract with Kurt Schrader, Suburban Wildlife Solutions. He does the trapping of muskrats and things like that at our stormwater ponds, so.
Everything good?
Yeah, Kurt's always done a great job, and the prices are definitely competitive, so recommend approval.
Motion by Vanderleest, second by
Second.
Nenning. Under discussion? Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 9, consideration of possible action and request DPW to enter in a professional service agreement for construction inspection services in the amount not to exceed $71,250. Director Grenier.
We have had a handful of our engineering aides leave for other positions over the past several months, so we're down on engineering aides, and one of their primary jobs during the summer is construction inspection services. So what we're requesting is authorization from the committee to go out and contract with consultant engineers to provide those construction services. We have not selected the consultant engineers yet. We wanted to have a budget to work within before we went out for proposals for those guys. So what we're looking for is authorization to go out, do the proposals, hire somebody and get them on staff and not spend any more than $71,250.
Okay. Entertain a motion
Move to approve.
by Nenning, second by
John.
Vanderleest. Under discussion? Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 10, consideration possible action on request DPW to enter into an agreement for professional services with, how do you pronounce it?
AECom.
AECom for design services for Atkinson Bridge deck design in the amount of $33,932.07. Director Grenier.
Design of that repair for the Atkinson Bridge is something we've had in the CIP for the last couple of years. Staff solicited quotes from AECom, Collins Engineers, and KL Engineering, received the low quote for design services from AECom in the amount of $33,932.07, and recommend working with AECom so we can get the design done and figure out exactly what we need to do to get that bridge repaired, so we can go ahead and bid that repair.
Where's Atkinson Bridge to see?
Atkinson Drive Bridge is, it heads north off of Belt.
Okay, I know where it is.
So when
Yep.
you cross the railroad, that's ours. When you cross the highway, that's DOT. So there's actually two separate bridges there. The DOT took care of their bridge a couple of years ago when the Nitschke, shortly after the Frigo Bridge was repaired. So they've done repairs to their bridge, but the one that goes over the railroad, we've been out and doing some patching work on it, but there's more work that needs to be done.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
By Vanderleest, second by Nenning, under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Nays, motion carried. 11, consideration, possible action, request and report of purchasing manager. 11A, request approval to award a one-year contract plus 4 one-year renewal options for petroleum products to Perkins Oil Company for $40,000 per year and E.H. Wolf and Sons for $38,000 per year. Rick?
This contract is for multiple departments, all of the vehicle-related departments, motor oil, grease, antifreeze, transmission fluid. So we bid this out, and we received 6 responses. We boil it down to just 2 of the contractors based on the best overall price and value to the city, and that's the 2 contractors that we're recommending here.
Okay.
It's a one-year contract for one-year renewals.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Nenning to approve, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion, here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. B, request approval to purchase smart cover monitoring systems from SunSource for $23,380. Rick?
We purchased these last year for the first time. These are sensors that are used in the sewer system to detect flowage, I believe, Steve?
It's essentially a retrofit of a manhole cover so that there's a probe that hangs down inside the manhole with a transponder unit and then an antenna on top. And in real-time, continuous basis, we can obtain flow data from from inside the sewers. We're using them in a handful of our sanitary sewers and one storm sewer right now to keep tabs on how much flow is going through there. And it's providing some pretty valuable data back to staff, so much so that we included 5 more of them in our sewer budget for the year. So the cost of this would be coming out of our budgeted monies for sanitary and storm sewer.
What's the benefit of the information, if you could give us an example, please?
For instance, matter of fact, right now as we speak on Channel 2, they're running an update on the smart covers. It just so happened that they picked today to come and do an interview on it. Over in the 9th Street area, we've got it installed in 2 sewers, plus we've got it in our Grove Street siphon and another siphon down on Mason. In real time, we're actually able to watch how much flow is going through there. We can track trends, and what we were able to see just this week is shortly after a rainstorm, all of a sudden there's a spike in the sanitary sewer flow as well, which is telling us water's infiltrating into the sanitary sewers. And you don't want to have clear water getting in there because you're sending that off to GVMSD and you're treating clean water for no reason. So what we can do is by moving those covers around and tracking flow over time, especially with rain, we can isolate where that water is leaking into the pipe and then go down, do a physical inspection of the pipe with a camera and determine what needs to be done. We're also using it, the plan is to use it on some of our storm sewers where we've got basin flooding to try to help isolate exactly which pipe segments get overloaded first, how badly they get overloaded, and that'll help dictate some of our storm sewer program going forward.
Thank you.
Question, Steve.
Vanderleest.
On the lift station that they were proposing with their money that we had left over
Yep.
there, how's that coming?
We have an RFP, has that gone out?
Yes,
RFP is out and we're waiting for,
they're working on the design currently.
oh, okay, so we selected a contractor and they're working on a desigin right now.
And that's gonna be down in the off-Broadway area
Yep.
there?
Yep.
That should help them quite a bit as far as flooding there in the central
That's the
area.
hope.
Do you move these things around, or do they stay in one location?
No, we've left them in certain locations right now because we're looking for some trending data, but they have the ability, we can pop them in and out of any manhole, and we can use the exact same cover to go, as long as you wash the probes off, you can go from a sanitary to a storm sewer and the exact same we can take all 10 of them if we buy 5 more. We could take 10 of them and blanket an area, or we could pick them up and have them scattered all over the city.
No, sanitary, that's sewer, right?
Yep.
That's waste?
Yep.
Okay.
Seems like an odd story to do a news report on, but I'll move to approve the request.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by Vanderleest, under discussion here, none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. C.
This is
One
sanitary
second,
sewer.
Rick, let me just read it for the record, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Request approval to award a contract for sanitary sewer television to Green Bay Pipe and TV LLC for $274,656, Rick.
We do television monitoring of the sanitary sewer basins every year. Did this out this year. We received 4 bids, and we're recommending award to the lowest bidder.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion, hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. D, request approval to purchase 2 trailer-mounted message boards from Warning Lights of Appleton Incorporated for $31,140. Rick?
Message boards are trailer devices that have a LED flashing message that, said, traffic interruption in 2 weeks, or move over because we're striping the road, that type of thing. We put this out for bid. We received 6 responses. The 3 low bids were very much under spec. They were too small, the boards were too small, the keypads were too small, or the displays were too small, didn't meet spec. The recommendation is to the low bid that did meet spec.
Okay. Any questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Vanderleest, second by Nenning. Under discussion, hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 11E is in Edward. Request approval to award a 1-year contract plus 4 1-year renewal options for contaminated soil hauling and disposal to Best Enterprises for $35,000 per year. Rick?
Again, this is a project that's undertaken every year. We're recommending an award to the low bidder, hauling any contaminated soil to an authorized facility that can treat it or take it, and it's as simple as that.
Move to approve the low
Motion by Nenning to approve, second by
Second.
Vanderleest.
Under discussion, hear none, all in favor?
bid. Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 12, report the award of the following contracts. Director Grenier, do you see any problems with any of these?
Okay, the only one that we want to draw particular attention to is Sewers 5-17.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve 12A, B, C, D, E as in Edward, and G with all one
And
vote.
What I'll do for you real quick is read in low bidder and cost, just so we got it on
Perfect.
record.
Thank you.
Bridge 2-17 would be Vinton Construction, $178,873.62. Mossy Oak Stormwater Facility would be Relico, $817,036.75. Parks Project 1-17, DeGroat Incorporated, $477,331. Oh, alternate, okay, there was 2 alternate bids. Parks is elected to go with alternate bid 1. So this is in the amount of $383,912.06. Parks Project 2-17, that's the Beaver Dam Ball Field renovation. Peters Concrete is the low bidder, $335,878 even. Sewers 4-17, Michaels Corporation is the low bidder, $425,363. Sidewalks 2017, that's our citywide contract. Fisher Ullman Construction is the low bidder, $523,132.50.
Yeah, move to approve those stated.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by
Seconded.
Vanderleest. Under discussion, hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 12F is in Frank. Director Grenier.
Okay, that's our mini storm contract. Bids came in substantially over budget and over engineer's estimate. Recommend one of 2 things: either hold for a month to give staff adequate time to research, and I'm actually going to be consulting not only with the contractors, but also law department on this one. or you could outright deny the contract, and we won't have a mini storm contract this year.
And we won't.
We will not.
Okay. What are the wishes of the committee?
Well, would the motion be to reject these bids and refer it to staff?
What we could do is we could hold it for a month, or you could reject the bids.
Right, there's two options, Dave.
Correct.
What do you guys want to do? Or do you want me to make the decision?
Well, I guess if it's substantially over budget and over the estimates, we probably would reject the bids. That would be our typical way of handling it if it's substantially. How much is it over?
Quite a bit,
It's quite a bit.
a lot.
Like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
what
Well, then-
I would suggest.
Then, to reject the bids?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would make a motion to do.
Okay, motion to reject the bids by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Moving forward, 13, consideration, possible action on request from SIL Restaurant to place tables and chairs within the right-of-way at 154 North Broadway. Director Grenier.
Again, this is consistent with several that we've received recently. They want to put outdoor dining in. Staff has been working with them. We've got an exhibit that's inside your packet showing where they're going to have tables and chairs. We recommend that you approve the request and have them enter into to obtain a revocable occupancy permit or object within the right-of-way and authorize staff to execute that.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by
I'll second it.
Vanderleest. Under discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 14. Consideration with possible action on a request from the Creamery Restaurant to place sign, tables, and chairs within right-of-way at 114 Pine Street. Director Grenier.
Same kind of a thing. The only thing we want to draw some attention to you on this one, this particular spot on Pine Street is actually under the watermark. So this is where Pine Street used to go under watermark and go out to the old Fox River ramp. They've already had some approval to place tables and chairs out on the parkway as city deck. So here they're going to be under the covered part. So it's not actually going to be out on the public sidewalk. This is more in that covered space on entry to city deck, just so you're familiar with where it is.
Do I remember correctly that they had tables and chairs there for the 4th of July?
They may have done something a little prematurely, but they were confined to the area that they are requesting right now.
I don't have a problem with it. I'll move to approve.
Seconded.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 15. Consideration of possible action on approval of the following plat of right-of-way, North Webster Avenue from University Avenue to Radisson Street. Project ID 4987-02-64 revised. Director Grenier.
We brought the original plat forward on April 26th. That included 9 parcels that were identified for early acquisition associated with the North Webster Avenue project. This is an amendment that adds 2 additional parcels to that plat for early acquisition, and we recommend approving this plat periodically as we have additional people requesting early acquisition. We'll be bringing back amendments as necessary.
Okay, Alderman Moore.
For these early acquisitions, from the last public meeting, people that came forward and talked.
Yes,
at that
these are
time?
2 more that came forward after the last public
Okay,
meeting.
and are they just, I mean, is it possible these are just gonna kind of be sporadic, like one here, one there, 6 blocks away, or are they
It's
generally
possible.
trying to keep them?
We're actually trying to get all of them at once.
Okay,
It's the desire of the property owner.
Right.
If they desire to be acquired early, they can request it of us. We can't request it of them.
okay, if it gets to a point where, okay, so we, all right. I was gonna say, if it starts to get kind of speckled and there's one
Hodgepodge.
straggler sitting here, we really can't go and approach that straggler,
We
has to come
can,
to
but
us.
we can't do it in an early acquisition. We will have to wait until we're at a point in the design
Okay.
process that the design study report is completed and the environmental document has been approved.
Okay, just looking to the future here, when it comes time to either demo, relocate, whatever it is we're doing, it'd be nice to be able to keep the equipment and just go house to house.
It is.
Cost-wise.
Again, the way the DOT process is set up, you have to reach certain milestones in the DOT design process
Right.
before you can acquire real estate. However, if the property owner approaches you and says, for various reasons, I wish to be acquired early, and one of the big reasons that DOT looks at, and one of the things that's really counting against some of these property owners is they're not able to get a fair market value or an arm's length transaction because there's knowledge in the community that this project is coming. So the property has kind of been devalued a little bit. They're at a competitive disadvantage, so they can request early reload, and that's what a lot of these folks have done.
In the item added to the agenda, number 20, I believe we would be considering hiring a relocation service to work with property owners or the residents to relocation, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, that's all I have.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve, reapprove
Motion
this
to
at
approve
planning
by
and
Nenning, second by
Second.
Vanderleest. Under discussion, here none, all in favor. Nays, motion carried. 16, consideration of possible action applications for concrete sidewalk builders license by the following. Do you have any issues with any of them, Steve?
Apple Valley has not held one in the past, so we'd recommend approval of Carter and Concrete Finishers and conditional approval for Apple Valley contingent upon obtaining the proper.
We're gonna have,
checks.
okay, we're gonna have two different motions on this then. We're gonna, I'd like to see a,
Move to approve B and C.
yes, thank you, Nenny.
Second.
And second by Vanderleest. Under discussion, here none, all in favor. Nays,
Aye.
motion carried. Now A.
Move to authorize staff to,
I think what we'd be looking at is conditional approval of A, pending successful, or pending proper background checks.
okay, I move to do that.
Second.
Motion by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion, here none, all in favor. Nays,
Aye.
motion carried. 17. Consideration and possible action applications for tree and brush trimmer license by the following. Director Grenier, you have any issues with A and B?
What we would request on both of these would be conditional approval pending successful background check.
Okay.
Move to approve on that basis.
Motion by Nenning on approval with background checks?
Yep,
Conditional.
Conditional background checks, is that proper?
conditional approval pending background check.
Okay.
Or
Motion by
reference
Nenning,
checks.
second by Vanderleest. Under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. 18, consideration of possible action on applications for underground sprinkler system licensed by Wesley Gothier. Director Grenier.
Conditional approval pending successful reference check.
Okay. Well, I need a motion first.
Yeah, move to approve.
Motion to approve by Nenning, second by Vanderleest. Under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Director's report. Director Grenier.
Just a couple of things for you real quick. Number one, we are in the process of, we had a new clerk typist start with us Monday of this week. We had one engineering aide start with us this week, so we are staffing, trying to get staff back up, just so you folks are aware of that. I don't know if you were made aware or not, but Amanda Barber, who is the supervisor in the administrative section, has decided to leave the city. She had a great opportunity to go part-time with the city of De Pere and spend more time at home. She's got 2 young kids there, so we were sad to see Amanda go. She was a very good asset to the department, excellent representative for the city. So we're in the process. We conducted interviews last week, and we're hoping to be able to make an offer to get that position filled. Staff has been diligently getting to work. It's hard to believe, you know, here we are just after the 4th of July, but we're already working on the budget. And I have volunteered to serve with Alderman Vanderleest to sit on that budget task force to see if we can find some ways to find some efficiencies and cost savings with the city. Then, last thing I wanted to bring to you, the committee gave staff the authorization to award certain contracts because of summer schedule, so just identifying that we had a couple of contracts, the Mossy Oak Stormwater Facility, which we talked about tonight, to Relico, and Parks Project 1-17 to DeGroat, that's the Fox River Trail. Then we awarded some professional service contracts, design of a stormwater facility for Perkins Park to Robert E. Lean Associates in the amount of $14,650. Perkins Park wetland investigation to Martinson and Isley in the amount of $1,720. And again, then we talked about the Best Enterprises contaminated soil. So again, because you had granted the authorization to staff to allow us to award those contracts, we are simply reporting out actions that we have taken.
Any questions for Steve?
Move to receive and place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file by Nenning, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Did we have another agenda item?
We did, we had a late ad.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of possible action in approval of the contract amendment for relocation services with Moss and Associates in the amount of $15,250 associated with the acquisition of the right-of-way required for the reconstruction of Webster Avenue from University Avenue to Radisson. Director Grenier.
The original contractor that we set up at the last INS meeting was set up only to include the family units that had requested early acquisition. Recent conversations with the Department of Transportation has clarified that they would actually prefer the city to include all project, or all parcels that are ultimately going to be relocated, not just the ones requesting early acquisition. So we went back, got a contract amendment from the low responsive, we had gone out for proposals. The low responsive proposal was Moss and Associates. What we're doing is just amending that proposal to include not only the early acquisition parcels, but all parcels along the corridor that will ultimately require relocation benefits. So staff is recommending the approval of this contract amendment.
Any questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the contract.
Motion to approve the
amendment.
contract by Nenning, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Motion to adjourn?
Have that table.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bill.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Completely forgot about that.
Well, since the individual isn't here, I guess I would make a motion to again deny the request.
Okay. Alderman Nenning's making a motion to deny the request by David Johnson to rescind the snow and ice removal charge, $60.55 at 724 Park Street. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Under discussion. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
By Nenning, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor? Nays,
Aye.
motion carried. We're adjourned.